So welcome back guys, you are watching Rising Codesira, and in this video we are going to talk about recursion. So what is a recursion, what is the definition of recursion, and how the codes are written using recursion. So how we can write different codes using recursion. We will have some problem statement. Basically we will solve two problem statements and we will find that how the recursion works. So right now here is the theory, but we are not going to move to theory. We will just write some code and then it will be more easy for us to understand. So right now we are just inside our code and you can see public class recursion. We are having a main method inside this and we will just create a method which will call itself. It's called as the recursion. So what is a recursion? There will be a method which will call itself. So we will just see with a simple easy example. So here the method name is going to be print hi. So for that what we have to do and what this method is going to do, this is going to just display message, okay, that hi to user. Okay, so what we are just going to do, we are just going to say public static and then we will just say void and the method name is going to be print hi. Okay, h and I. Okay, that's all. And inside this we are just going to take the integer number. Okay, we are just going to take a number inside this. Okay, so why we are going to take a number? Because we just have to pass some value at how many times it should be printed. Okay, so if I'm just going to say we have to print it 5 times, so it will print 5 times inside the console. Okay, so you can do this with for loop as well. So what we will be doing, we will just say system dot out dot print and print ln we are just going to use here and we are just going to say that hi. Okay, so that's all. Now after doing this, what will happen if I'm just going to call the function, then how it will just work, we will just see. So right now I'm just going to call the function. Okay, and here I'm just going to pass any value. Okay, I just pass some value, so nothing will happen, it will work and you will get the output inside the console. So what is the recursion we are going to see over here? Okay, so what is recursion? We are going to call the function which is created here inside that function only. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say print hi and after that I'm just going to say n minus 1. Now if the value is 5, it will be 5 minus 1. Then it will call this function 5 minus 1, then it will be 4, then it will be 3, then it will be 2, then it will be 1. It will be 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. In this way, it will continue on the running. So what is happening? What will happen? We are just written here a 5 value. This number is going to be 5. And we are just going to say num minus 1. Okay. So right now what will happen? If we see, this is 5. And it will print the hi in the console. And it will come at this point. So what will happen? 5 minus 1. So it will be 4. Now at this point it will be 4. Okay. Now when it will be 4, what will happen? It is calling that function only. And here there will be 4. Then it will be printed. Then it will be 3. Now minus 1. That means 4 minus 1. It will be 3. Again the 3 will be at this point because it is calling itself. And it will be printed this. And then 3 minus 1 you will get 2. In this way it will be continuing the loop. And you can just see right now. It will be continue at this point. You can just see. Hi, and at certain point what will happen? Okay, what will happen? It will just throw you an error. You can just see that stack overflow. So you will say that there is a stack overflow error. So we are just going to see this error, that why it happens inside the node. Now we will just talk about definition. It will be more clear for us. Process where a method is calling itself. Okay, we just find right now that the method is calling itself in order to solve a problem. This technique is commonly used to break down a problem into smaller, more manageable subproblems of the same type. Recursive call, that means repeatedly. Okay, repeatedly. Move the solution closer to a base case which stops the recursion. So what is a base case? We will just understand that base case is nothing but where we have to stop. Okay, so what is happening over here? If you see, there is no base case. So base case we are just going to write here base case. So what is a base case? Where we have to stop. So what we have to do, we are just going to write here a base case that if inside if there will be a condition over here that if the number is greater than 0, then only we are just going to run this. Then only what we are going to do, we are just going to run this. Okay, I will just make it in this way. Okay, at this point. So what I am saying, when there will be the number, okay, which has been entered by the user. So if it is 5, or if it is greater than 0, then only it will work. If it is reaching at 0, then we don't have to do it. Okay, so what will happen when I'm just giving a condition, that means where it has to stop. So if you see the 5, you got 5 over here. Then what will happen? 5 is greater than 0. Okay, 5 is greater than 0. Then it will be printing this. Then what will happen? 5 minus 1, it will be 4. Okay, so here you will get 4. Okay, Now 4 is greater than 0. Okay, 4 is greater than 0. It will print again. Then it will be 4 minus 1, 3. Then it will be 3. 3 is greater than 0. It will be printing this. 3 minus 1, you got 2. Then this will be 2. 2 is greater than 0. It will be printing this. And 2 minus 1, you will get 1. Okay. So what will happen? 2 minus 1, you will get 1. Okay, you come at this point 1. Okay, 1 is greater than 0. You print this. And then what happens? 1 minus 1, you get 0. And it reaches 0. And 0 is not greater than 0. Okay, 0 is equal to 0. Okay, so the condition is getting false. So at this point, it will just stop. Right now, when we are just going to run this, so you will get this how many times? 3, 4, 5. You get it 5 times. 3, 4, 5. Okay, you will get it 5 times. So what does the base case does? Stop repetition of the code or end. Okay, we are just going to end it, or we are just going to stop the repetition of the code. Okay, if the base case is not provided, then Stack Overflow recursion in Java occurs when a recursive method calls itself too many times, exceeding the maximum size of the call stack. Okay, if you are not going to tell the program that what is the base case or where we have to stop, then at that point this will be happening. Okay, you will get the error. And what happens? You got the main method will call method A, method A will call method B, and method B will call method C. So you can just see main method calls method A, which calls method B, then you go to C, then you go so on. In this way it happens. Okay, so what is call stack? We're just going to know right now. Okay, so it is a memory basically in Java. Okay, you get a memory and where all the methods are being stored. Okay, there. Okay, stores information about active method calls including methods. So it is being stored in this way. So it is having last in first out data structure, which basically we are just going to see in stack and queue that what is LIFO, then FIFO. Okay, in this way, first in first out, we are just going to see them in stack queues, and that manages method calls and returns. That's all. So you don't have to worry about this. For right now, you just have to know that it is just a memory and it is having certain size when it is just exceeding the range. So at that point, what will happen? This error you will get, Stack Overflow error you get. Okay, when it will exceed the maximum size of the call stack. Okay, so if the base case is not provided, then it will occur. So which error occurs? Stack Overflow recursion. So you need to know the base case for this. Okay, problem statement 2, where we are just going to know about the factorial of a number, that how we can find out the factorial of a number. Okay, I will just make this comment out. Okay, so at this point where I'm just going to write factorial, and here we are just going to create another method. What happens? Factorial is nothing but if we talk about 5 factorial, it will be 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. It just reaches up to 1 and it just multiplies it and you got the output. If I say that what is factorial of 3, so 3 factorial will be 3 into 2 into 1. So you will get 3 to the 6 into 1, you will get 6. So it will be 6. Okay, so in this way, you just have to move up to 1 and the multiplication is been done. Name it as factorial. Now inside this, what will happen when we talk about any factorial? We need a number basically. Okay, so I'm just going to give it name as int n. Okay, and before that, what we are just going to do, I'm just going to call the method factorial, and inside this we are just going to give a number. Suppose we will just give the number and that is going to be 5. Okay, so let me write the condition first, that if the n value reaches equal to 0, at this point we are just going to return 1. Okay, we are just going to return 1. Okay, right now we are just going to return the integer. I'm just going to remove void and it will be an integer. Okay, so this is going to be our base case where we have to just stop, and when it will be equal to 0, we have to return 1, because what is the reason behind returning 1? Factorial of 0 is 1. Okay, factorial of 0 guys is 1, so we have to return 1. Okay, I've just written here factorial of 0 is 1 as well, and it will just return the value that is going to be 1. Okay, now what will happen? Else there will be a condition, and what will be the condition? We will be just returning n into factorial of n minus 1. Okay, now what happens? N into factorial n minus 1. Why I'm just doing this? So what will happen if your n value is 5? So it will be 5 into 5 minus 1. That means it will be 4. Then again we will be calling this function, and what will happen? This will be 4. Okay, at that point. Then 4 into, it will be 4 minus 1. It will be 3. You will get here 3 into 3 minus 1. You will get 2. In this way it will be completing and you will get the final output. Okay, now everything is fine. We just have to create a variable, and that is going to be your result, or you can just name it as output or what you want. And here we are just going to write system.out.println. So we are just going to say factorial. Okay, and it will be plus, you can just write result. Okay, and that's all. Now we will just run the code and you will get the factorial as well. Okay, you got factorial, which is 120. We will just change the name and we will just move it to 3. So 3 to the 6, 6 into 1, you will get 6. Okay, so factorial is 6. First we are having factorial 5. So factorial 5 is going to call to factorial 4. Factorial 4 will call factorial 3, 3 will call 2, 2 will call 1. Okay, 2 will call 1 and 1 will call 0. In this way it will be working. And when it reaching at the point of 0, when it will be reached to the 0, it is going to return the 1. Okay, and here the condition gets stopped. Okay, that means you get the base case. After that we are just going to do the backtracking. That means we got all these functions. Right now we just have to assign the values inside them. Okay, so what will happen at the 7 condition backtracking? That means we will be moving in this way. Okay, so what will happen, we will just move from 0 to 1. So what will happen, 1 is going to return n into, you get this formula, n into factorial of n minus 1. When we talk about n minus 1, at this point what will happen, the 0 has just written the 1. Okay, so 0 has written the 1. So this one will be at this point. Okay, this one will be at this point. Then what will happen, factorial of 2. So factorial of 2 is just going to return 2 into n minus 1. What is the n minus 1? This value. Okay, you got this value at the end. So this will be at this point. Then what will happen, you will get 2 into 1, you got 2. Then it will be factorial of 3 returns n into factorial of n minus 1. So 3 will be at this point and this value, which is 3 minus 1, will be over here. In similar way you got 6, in similar way you got 24 and you got 120, which is the factorial of 5. Okay, is nothing but 120. So in short, recursion is nothing but there is a method. Suppose recursion is a method, so it will be calling itself inside it. Okay, and there will be certain base case, there will be something base case over here, base case in between them, that where we have to stop. That's all guys for today's video. You will get the notes and source code inside descriptions.